welcome to Love Dish, where each week we infuse the richness of love and relationships with the goodness of great food. I'm so excited to bring my good friends, Pastor Chris and Jay Pun, tonight. We're going to talk about successful second marriages, and I can't wait to see what they cook up. Come right back and we'll get started. Welcome back to Love Dish. I'm K.S. Lewis, and like I said, I have my good friends, Pastor Chris and Jay Pun here. Welcome, guys.
Thank you so much.
I am so glad to have you here, and I can't eat now. I don't know if you know this about me, but tacos is like my favorite dish, and so I'm really excited about tonight's recipe. But before we get started, first things first, I'm gonna give you an apron to put on, and I can help you out if you need help tying in the back. So first, before we get started and you go kind of through your recipe for today, just kind of tell us a little bit about your ministry and really how you connected and those, just so that our viewers can kind of get a feel for it.
So our ministry is really based upon changing lives in the community. It's not really based upon as far as like the four walls of the church. Our ministry is we believe in having church without walls.
I love that.
And so our heart is really catering towards the people of God out the street, that's homeless, that's out there, that's in need. And so we love the community. And so our ministry brings this authentic worship that creates an atmosphere where people can be delivered and set free outside.
I love that.
So that's what we're about.
I love it.
So maybe 4 years ago, I was trying to book this guy for a concert, and he was so arrogant. Wouldn't answer the phone, kept sending me a voicemail. This guy, and we met at the concert, and I was busy. I was hosting, and so it just kind of popped up from there.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was just like, I'm just God bless you, and I praise the Lord, and I was like, this guy looks like Santa Claus. And he's singing in a black church. This is wow. But definitely great ministry. I'm always in awe of his worship. One of the things I love it. With. And we still here 3 creeps later.
Yep. 3 creeps later.
Yep.
I'm assuming that's your children.
Yeah, children.
I'm not going to call your children Greek.
No, you right.
This is how we're endearment at our house.
Right. That's really awesome, and I love to hear that, first of all, that you're a pastor.
Absolutely.
And that, the ministry that you offer is not confined to the church. My father's a pastor, so
awesome.
I grew up,
right,
really.
PK kid.
Yes, I'm a PK.
All right.
And what they say about PKs are not true.
Right.
Not all of it.
No.
But yeah, so some of it,
Yeah,
maybe. A little bit. But so I love the fact that, you're able to just, build your ministry in a way that really reaches the community, because that's really important, particularly these days.
Definitely. And we lose so many young people along the way.
So much so.
One thing I love about Chris, he just says, when God finds you, let him find you in worship.
Yes.
And so we just tell our young folk, like, whatever you're doing, just surrender. Because one day, we're going to be at the last days, you don't want to be worrying about where you're going, who you're going with.
True. That's so true.
You're going to create change outside in your community. I don't believe in you coming out of your house and you just be like, I'm going to focus in the confinements of a church building. But then you got people outside at 7-Eleven homeless that need to hear about the God that we serve. But
we got so many artists that want to be mega stars, but
if
you can't reach the people in your backyard,
that's so true.
What is it for?
Yeah. And we're not saying that being in church is not important. I think everything has to have a balance too.
And it goes back to our ministry. Our ministry, it's all about having great balance. You want to be able to be in a church building, because I believe the scriptures talk about having to fellowship with the people.
Yeah.
But I do believe that fellowship can be done even right now.
And everybody has their assignment.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, everybody has their assignment. Some people are supposed to be confound in the walls, and some people aren't. And that's just what it is.
I totally agree.
And
so some of our fellowship on today includes cooking.
Yeah,
thank
I
goodness.
love it.
Right.
And
Let's
so
go.
tell everyone about what you are cooking. And this is basically your signature dish. So tell us about that for tonight.
I love these pockets. So we have a blended household, and so my husband is Hispanic and I'm African American. And on Tuesdays, our middle child came up with Taco Tuesdays.
Yes, so my favorite.
Like, every Tuesday we're gonna eat tacos. The oldest is not, enthused about this at all because he want to eat fast food. But it also gives us a chance on Tuesdays to kind of hear our kids out. So we do have a terrible gap with our kids. We have a teenager, we have a school-age child who thinks he's a vigilante, and we have a toddler. And so the Tuesday makes sure we can connect with our kids. Our teenager asks us, stuff we don't really want to answer that makes us uncomfortable. The middle child's jumping off the couch, and the baby, she's just running around with her diaper. And so it brings that family aspect and that fellowship aspect. It's family first. And so the Bible talks about the fact that you govern your family first, and then everything else is second. And so we believe that.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna have tacos tonight, and it looks like we have a lot of ingredients, but we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna get started just kind of getting the meat going and talking a little bit more about you two and the fact that you have a successful second marriage and a blended family. Okay?
Awesome.
All right, so come right back with Love Dish, and we will get going with these tacos.
Hi everyone, I am Mr. Brian Lamont. I am a wardrobe stylist, personal shopper, and media personality. You can find me at almost every single fashion, networking, or entertainment event that you can name. Catch me on all social media platforms at Mr. Brian Lamont. Until next time, peace.
So guys, you guys were talking about how you met and how you connected initially, and this is your second marriage. So I'd really love to hear more about how did you know that you were ready for a new relationship after your first marriage?
So I wasn't ready and I didn't know.
Okay.
And with time, like talking and building trust and just making sure like the person's actions, and their word, like all matched up together. I think with time, like the trust started. Because when you're kind of hurting and you feel like, okay, this is gonna be like the last time, you kind of keep looking at that person with those tainted, window, glasses. And so your person has to prove themselves. And so that's kind of how it was for me.
So what kind of thing, before you give your answer, so what kind of things were you looking for that kind of showed themselves to be as proof? What were the proofs that you needed?
Somebody to be consistent.
Okay.
Actually, somebody who just wanted to be like monogamous. Like I didn't really feel like at that point in my life I wanted to like play a lot of games with somebody. Like, oh yeah, I'm talking to her, and we cool, but we're not really talking, so I'm gonna talk to her too. And I was just like, I was over that. And I didn't have a problem with him being a musician, but I did have a problem with all that comes with it. Okay. So I like the fact that when he said, hey, I'm going to do this gig and then I'll be at your house at this time, for date night, that's what I expected. And that's what he showed. And so that just kind of allowed me to be like, okay, all right, you're not just playing games.
Yeah. And I think that's really important because, like you said, he's a musician. And you said the phrase, all that comes with that. Yeah. And, no dig on musicians. We love musicians. However, there are some, I don't know if they're myths and some might be truths, but there are some things that kind of come along with it, with people having extra eyes on you, having extra interest sometimes.
And I know, I am a musician, so I understand what I was getting. So yeah, so I just, real recognizes real. And that's just the golden rule.
Okay, I love it. Real recognize real. That's all day, right? So what about you, Pastor Chris? How did you know?
It was really based upon timing. I prayed about it. I struggled a lot in my first marriage, but I had to suffer. It was important for me to suffer my broken season.
Okay.
My broken season allowed me to restructure who I was as a man, so that when I met my wife, when I met her, I saw that she had the potential as a wife, period. And so I saw that she was well structured. So I noticed that, I realized that her heart was her children. And so my game, the way to access her was her children, to say, you know what, I need to take care of these children. I need to do something. So, even when you're first starting to date or going out, whatever, the kids need anything, they want something to eat as well. Even if your friend at that time is saying, I don't want him to get close to my children because we don't know what can happen.
And that's a big thing for a single mom when you're dating and you're starting all over again. Who you expose your kids to? When's the right time? And so for a long time, Chris would always say, I see the shadows from the door, and I would say, thank you. I would say, yeah, those are the creeps, but they're kind of off limits, and he respected that. Because
talking about your children,
So
they affectionately call their children
creeps.
Yes,
That's our creeps.
we love them. They're awesome. We have 3, and they're boys. So how can I teach you how to be a respectable Christian man if you keep seeing Tom, Dick, and Harry run all up and through my door?
That's so
so I'm like, no, that's not what we're going to do. And it was just great because Chris would always say, no, when you're ready, I'll meet them. When I'm ready, I'll meet them. Because he has to be ready.
Right.
Because once you meet them, it's a lot that comes with that.
So true. That's very true. And I like how you said, you gave a lot of good points with that. Like, she talked about consistency. You talked about, her showing herself to be true, being able to get to the heart of who she was by just really being observant and seeing what was important to her, which were her children at the time. So I love that, and I think it's really helpful. So little, disclosure about me. I'm divorced. I'm a divorcee. I have a daughter with my previous marriage, and so just hearing the way that you guys kind of process through, leaving the one relationship and kind of opening yourselves up to the new one is really helpful even to me.
Absolutely.
So
I believe, if I can say this,
you can say whatever.
I believe that it's almost like a puzzle. I believe a puzzle, if you put the puzzle right here on this table, it will be scattered pieces, right? And it takes a man that can access these scattered pieces and create a portrait.
Come on now. All right.
And so no, that's how I really do feel.
I love that.
And so I felt like there's a woman here who has been broken, who has been tampered with, and it's my job to put this together to create this wonderful portrait that belongs in heaven.
Oh my.
And so that has to be a lifestyle though. It's a lifestyle, and so we had to create that. And so creating that means that the consistency has to be genuine. Yeah. So she had to see that as a man.
To be a true desire of
you don't
heart.
open the door when you first meet her and say, "Come on in," and then you don't open the door ever again. No, there has to be consistency. So that she can say, "You know what? I love the consistent man that you are."
And it's scary. It's real scary.
It is scary. It is.
It's a lot to take in, like the trust factor. That was a big thing for me. I'm just like, you know,
what you gonna
and
do
then not
next?
towards him, but just like, I don't have time. I'm on a mission. I got a lot on my mind. I'm spread real thin, and so just taking it all in. Some days I just was like, okay, I don't really know if I really want to do this, and I'm sure he felt the same way. He's like, look, I got rid of the first one, and like I'm trying to make a clean getaway, and so we fought against it for a long time.
Wow.
We did.
Having children, if I may say, having children, that number. Let me make this very key for those that are even watching. Having children, when you meet someone that has children, you literally, as a man, you have to put your heart in this and say, you know what, am I in position to become a father figure? Now, let me say this as well. There's times where the father is not deceased, which by the way, one of my son's father is deceased, and I'm present, and so I have to let it be known. Listen, I'm not trying to be your biological dad. I am trying to be a man figure where you say, you know what, I can be a greater man, a better man. You understand? And so that's where we stand right now. And so being close to these children, it allows me to access the heart, and create. And now we're looking at, I have African American children.
Right.
2 sons of mine are African American. So I'm raising them to be strong black males. You understand? And I want them to understand that we can make it. We can do this. We can be in unity and grow together. And so
I love it. That's key. Everything you're saying is key. So I hope that someone that may be watching, can really, really hear your heart on the matter.
Blended families aren't a joke.
No, they're not. They're not. And although I don't have a blended family, well, you know what? I'll take that back because my ex-husband is married again. And so we kind of do have a blended family because we had to, come to a place where where I could accept, his wife and welcome her into our family because she's with my daughter when my daughter's not with me.
And that's the same way it is.
Scary.
It's the same way it is
with your child to the other parent.
Yes.
What are your beliefs and what are your values?
Absolutely.
And will you respect me so my child can also still respect me?
Right.
Now we have a middle child that his father's still present, and so that's maturity plays a major role in this. And so even in all this, I had to be able to acknowledge: do I want to get involved in a relationship? Right? Is that okay to say?
Yeah,
that the man is still present, right, and highly active in his son's life. And is this going to be a competition level?
Right. And how does that affect?
And so, and this is that's another thing about pastoring, is that this is not a competition. It's all about building and building a home based off of trust and loyalty, you know, and love.
So some of those things that we practice at church, we have to practice.
This is home.
Yes,
This
you have to
teach
be that
you
example.
how authentic, authentically going through the same thing.
So true.
And how can I tell you about something if I can't relate to it, if I don't understand it? And so when people talk to us, like, oh, I got baby daddy drama, and maybe we like. Us too,
right?
You know, and it's funny. They be like, "What you mean you got baby daddy drama? He got baby daddy drama too. You know, he got ex-husband drama too." And it just comes with the territory. When you love that person, you go along for the ride.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to switch gears just a little bit to make sure that our viewers know kind of what we've done to this point. So the meat is almost brown and ready, but you put some tomatoes in it.
I did.
You put a little tomato sauce.
Flavor. Yeah, just before you drain it. Sometimes you want it to taste like something.
Right.
Yeah. So we just dumped in a little onion, dumped in a little sauce. We put all our seasonings, and so we're almost at the point where we need to go ahead and strain.
Okay. Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have it drained, and we'll be ready to assemble. We'll be right back on Love Dish.
For the novelty.
Welcome back to Love Dish, and we have finished grounding the beef. I don't really know. Browning the ground beef. I'm saying it all wrong. But you knew what I meant, and y'all knew what I meant. So, and you put onions, a little tomato sauce, chili powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper. Really, I mean, with tacos, you know, it's kind of to taste, I think. Definitely. It depends on, you know, this is a basic kind of recipe that helps everyone who might not, you know what a basic taco recipe is. But in general, it's really just your favorite seasonings, your favorite ingredients, and you kind of go from there. Absolutely. So all that's really left is putting the shells in the oven for like 5 minutes just to warm them up and get them ready for the meat and all the ingredients or all the toppings, and then we can go from there. Yeah. So while you're doing that, if you just want to go ahead on, and I know I'm supposed to be sous chefing for you today, but I'm just like chilling and enjoying the conversation. Fine. But I welcome you into my kitchen to just take over.
Thank you. It's a beautiful kitchen.
Thank you. And I have the soft shells there because I am a big soft shell taco eater. So
our oldest has braces, and so we have to make soft shell tacos.
So see, you worked out. Yeah, I like a little variety. Yeah. But while we're doing that, so we've had such a rich conversation so far, but I do want to ask you, so do you feel the current culture of relationships lends itself to success in marriage? And I'm just going to turn this and put it in the oven because the oven's already heated. Okay. Just for the viewer's sake, 250 for about 5 minutes.
Right.
So, do you think that the current culture of relationships lends itself to success for marriages?
I don't. We just don't have good fundamentals, like good foundation for what marriage is supposed to be anymore.
And what would you say marriage is supposed to be?
So I believe with every marriage you should make your own rules. Okay. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, you got to do it this way. You don't have to do it any particular way, but there's a few ingredients you must have. And so I think like our parents and grandparents probably had those, that foundation of, hey, I'm going to honor you, and we're working together. This is a partnership. Yes. We're building a legacy. Like now it's just kind of like, okay, I might need a visa, so me and you're gonna do this real quick. I think I like you today, and you cute. I like what you about, and so we're gonna do it. Or I'm sick of her asking me, and so her time is very her prevalent. Clock is. She said her clock is ticking. Right. Her mom and them is getting on my nerves. So I'm gonna just go ahead and do this. The pressure of it, and so
or even in the area we live in, because we're in the Washington metro area. Yeah. It's a lot of, oh, well, what do you do? and my big picture is this, so we can help each other kind of build.
Right.
But building, and I will say, I think building is key, and
It
I think
is.
making sure that the person fits your big picture is key.
It
But that's not the only thing.
It's not.
But when you come from a city where the first question a lot of people ask is, "What do you do?"
Right.
Then you got to be real careful with that.
Oh, definitely. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just when people, especially young couples, when they come to us and say, "We want to talk to you about marriage," and we laugh, and then we say, "Okay, you sure you want to talk to us?" Just because we met a few years older than them, but we've done this a few times apiece, and so it's not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not at all.
It's a full-time job. I tell people all the time, this is a job where you might not get a lot of thank yous, and you may not always feel appreciated. It's a lot of hours, and it's for the long haul if you do it right.
And we're talking about marriage, guys. We're not talking about kicking it with your homie.
No.
We're not talking about being booed up.
Yeah.
We're talking about marriage, and it is long hours. It's all of that. I was married before, so I get it.
It's definitely, especially when it comes to the aspect of, when you say marriage and you're doing it again, there's like she said, there are ingredients in it that you really have to put in it. For example, prayer.
Yes. Number one.
Okay, you got supplication, which is completely different than prayer.
Yes.
Because people
Can you explain
Sure,
supplication?
please. For example, you praying, right? You pray, like I can say, Lord, thank you for this fine dish.
Thank you, God.
Having, prayer with supplication, it's more like a direct, like, Lord, like there are ingredients to your prayer that can give you a different access result.
Ooh, okay.
You understand? So your supplication, it's almost like works and faith.
Okay.
Okay? Faith without works is
It's
what?
dead. It's dead.
So so that means you have to add that it's the ingredients to your prayer that gives you a greater access. And so that's what it is. And so this is our second marriage. So for me, it's like young people don't understand that. And they have to understand that there are ingredients to it. And so partnership, working together is very, very strong. You have to do that. So that we can become successful. We gotta talk.
Yes.
You gotta open your mouth, say something.
And so you're not at the level where, because we're keeping it, in an honest standpoint.
Yes.
Everybody isn't a young person that's in church. So say you're not into prayer yet. Your faith level isn't there yet. Well, find you 2 seasoned married people who will pray for you.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
if you can't pray for yourself, if you find somebody who will pray on your behalf and will champion for you, that'll also help. Have a couple where they can tell you, hey, this is what you guys, need to work on. Because sometimes when we're talking about love and relationships, we look through our eyes, but sometimes if you look through someone else's, you'll get the real deal about, I love him. And they'll be like, no, he don't love you. And so you just got to, have somebody who's just going to be honest with you. And if someone loves you, then they really want the best for you. And so some of us girlfriends who have girlfriends who say we don't like that guy that she's dating, they standing for it.
Right. All right, well, I think it's time for us to take the taco shells out of the oven. So we're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, we'll be ready to assemble. We'll be right back on Love Dish. We're back with Love Dish. I'm KS Lewis with my guest pastor, Chris and Jay Pun. We have made tacos tonight, one of my favorite dishes. So y'all know I'm like, I'm happy. Let's assemble so that I can eat. I mean, y'all too, of course. But but let's assemble. And while we're doing that, so just to kind of let the audience know, let's take them really quick back through the ingredients. Okay. You did regular ground beef, right? Onions, tomato. What were the spices?
We had garlic, salt and pepper, and then
little chili powder, right?
Yeah.
And then also some tomato sauce,
yes.
right? And regular, just chunky salsa. And I think, it's really important to just reiterate that it really is about preference when it comes to tacos. Like the method is going to be the same. Cook the meat through, put whatever kinds of spices that you like, whatever suits your fancy. Tonight, this is what we got. All right. So, you can go ahead and just assemble the way that you would normally assemble. Okay. I'm going to hold the plate for you. Okay. I think we'll both hold a plate, right? And while you're doing that, so we've been having such a wonderful conversation about successful second marriages, you guys have talked a lot about, but what I wanted to ask you is if you could give like 3 main tips to people for a successful marriage, what would they be?
Sure.
Honesty.
Okay.
And respect. And I don't know, what would my third one be? I don't know. Just to
Some
believe.
spoons there if you want to use them.
Believe in that person. Like believe in their dreams. Yeah, that's believe in their dreams. And that's it.
Okay, so honesty, you said respect, and believe in your dreams. Pastor Chris, what about you?
I believe in prayer. I believe in love again.
Okay. Prayer and love again.
Love again. And I do believe in trust.
Okay. Explain love again because I think, you know, to me, when I think about love again, I feel like you kind of already have to be in that space. But explain what you mean by that.
So, even when you met that during that process of you still, you know, bringing this whole thing together, there's a point in time where you have to even love yourself again.
Yes.
Because you can jump into another relationship and be an imposter.
Ooh. Yep. Okay.
And so I believe that loving again allows you to check yourself again. Okay. Even before you said I do, because there's still a process.
Yeah.
There's a method to the madness. And so you have to be able to love again so that you can restructure how you're going to do this. You know, I learned that even in years going on in our marriage, I'm learning something new. So there's a whole.
You can't love me the way you did yesterday.
Absolutely.
You can't love me the way
so
you
the
love
3
the girl
points that
from
I'm giving you
last
now
year
might not be the same next year.
Okay. Cool.
There's always points. There's always a method that, you know.
A method to the madness.
Absolutely.
Or the goodness.
Absolutely.
Really.
To the great.
And I love what you said about, you know, your imposter, because I talk to people all the time outside of this about relationships. Absolutely. And one of the things that I caution people with is not letting their representative stay too long.
Right.
You know, I think it's okay to have, you know, not necessarily have your guard up, but just be cautious and be aware of what's happening in the beginnings of the relationship. But sometimes that can turn into what I call the representative.
Right.
And then the representative has to go. And you don't want that person to get so used to your representative.
We call it putting on airs.
Putting on airs, or having the imposter, so that when you really, you know, bring
save
your real
your
self
representative
to the table,
for your
they don't know who
your
it is.
job interview. I don't want your representative when you're trying to get into a relationship.
I love it. I love that.
Because if that's the case, let's be real. No one's safe.
That's right. That's very true.
That means you shouldn't love. That means you should give up. And if that's the case, then why do we have Christ? Because if that was the case, why God would let his son die for us? I'm just saying.
Well, you just took me to church on that one. I love it. I love it. Well, we are going to take just a moment to finish assembling, and we'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll be ready to eat. We'll be right back on Love Dish. And we're back. As you can see, we have assembled our tacos. It's Tuesday, so it's the perfect time to have them. Thank you guys again for coming.
We had a great time.
I so appreciate it, and the conversation was just awesome. So I know for a fact that you have helped some people tonight.
Absolutely.
Just with your journey and with your tips on successful marriage, just successful marriage in general. I do want to ask you, is there any last minute advice you would give to others that are considering marrying a second time or just marrying again?
Just deal with your hurt. Don't fork it off on the other person. Just seek some counseling. I know in the African American community, or just minorities, we have this thing about mental health, and so it's okay to sit down and talk to someone about your failures and what you feel like you didn't do well or what you could do better in the next relationship. And so that's a big thing. And then find something you like to do just for you. Yeah. And that'll kind of help you sort out some of those feelings before you even get to that person.
I think that's perfect. Heal first.
Heal first. That's key.
Because if you heal first, you can love again. I love it.
I love that. Yes. So heal first and you can love again. So I have one last question before we dig in, and I ask this question of all my guests. What is your greatest hope for love?
Wow.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
We should start off with this one.
Yeah. Our greatest hope for love. That's difficult because everything that we do is orchestrated by God. It's not something that we do. So we don't know. I think in the aspect of asking pastors and first lady, we're just operating according to what God wants us to do. This is not an us thing.
Okay. I guess, I don't know. My greatest hope is as a parent is my children will find it authentically. So they can pass it to their kids, you know. Not necessarily the perfect marriage or a long marriage or whatever, you know, the stereotype is, but yeah, but just to find love and to own it.
So tell everybody how they can find you, how they can keep up with what you're doing.
On Instagram, I am Chris Pun. On Facebook, you can write Chris Pun and Friends or Power of Worship Ministries, and you'll find us right there.
Okay. All right. So you can reach them on Instagram and all your social media outlets that you like. Listen, if you want to make this exact recipe, all you have to do is look below and you'll see the ingredients. Click subscribe on the page so that you can keep up with what we're doing on Love Dish.
Yes.
In the meantime, we're going to dig in. I'm KS Lewis, and we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to eat, y'all. Okay. I'm going to, don't linger.
I'm not. Y'all enjoy it.
I'm going to grab this little soft taco here. My favorite, and I'm happy.
Let's bring together